Did my relative die from overworking themselves? Well, no. But did I felt a huge pressure this week? Well, yeah. So, let's talk about the topic of overworking ourselves. I think everyone in their life at least had one-time experience with overworking themselves. You know, you have some serious exam tomorrow, so you decide to study all night, or maybe you just have some deadline and you have to give out your work as soon as possible. It's an experience that everyone has, and unfortunately it has a lot of negative things around it. Overworking yourself can lead to a lot of mental issues and physical ones as well. So I decided, what if we talk about this topic today? I know it's a bit more serious than my other videos, but I felt like this topic is very close to my heart, so let's get into it. First, let's talk about my experience with overworking myself. As I already mentioned, almost everyone had the experience where they ended up overworking themselves, but for the longest time I really felt like I would never really hit that mark. I am a quite determined person, so when I really get into something and I really want to finish it, I'll do my best to do it this day. And for the longest time it was just kind of my mindset. I didn't think too much into it, I just like to say that I'm really ambitious. But maybe I let some things through that I should have paid more attention to. I am a human and all people have to rest sometimes, but for me it's only two moods. One, I work. Two, I don't work. When we talk about the second mood, it's usually some, I don't know, maybe a weekend. I don't want to do anything, I just want to spend time with my friends, maybe watch some YouTube videos, you know, the usual things. But when we talk about first topic, I'd say I'm a bit cranky during that time. So, for example, this week I had a huge assignment that I had to do before Friday. The thing is, this assignment was literally like one of the hardest things I ever did, and I felt like I can do it on my own. Meanwhile, the rest of the group was working together to help each other. After the first day, I already felt terrible. I stayed up until 2-3 am and I only did 1/3 of the assignment. This wasn't really looking well. The next day, you can say I already did the half of it, but unfortunately, because of my determination, I lost an opportunity to have a outing with my friends, which is kind of sad because my friends are also quite busy and we don't have too much time to hang out unless we count the weekends or maybe like celebrations. And finally was the last day, where I finally finished that assignment and sent it. I was definitely happy, but at the same time I felt like, God, I just wasted almost the entire week to do this. Not to mention that, you know, I wanted to make another video about me playing Undertale Yellow, but because of this assignment, I couldn't do it. We have so little time on Earth and we just do things like this. I've lost this week, I don't know what to tell you. There's no way for me to get it back. And for what? Just assignment? Instead I could have just, I don't know, asked for help and maybe finished it at least a little bit earlier. Either way, you get what I'm saying. And this is not a really rare occurrence. Almost all the time I have an issue of putting myself into deadlines with my art or videos. I don't get any money from this is just a hobby. So why is that happening? I'm not sure, but I should do something about it. You can run into some unfortunate outcomes, so let's talk about those. Firstly, we'll be talking about what overworking yourself may do to your body physically. Obviously, your health won't really say thank you for making yourself stay up all night just to, I don't know, finish your artwork. But also, what might happen is you might damage your immune system. With lack of sleep, your immune system gets weaker, so some easy issues like cold, headaches, runny nose and things like that can easily make your all-nighters even worse. So here are some facts on what might happen to you. Research on British civil servants in 2006 highlights a connection between work stress and metabolic syndrome. People with metabolic syndrome, or syndrome X, are at greater risk of diabetes, stroke and heart disease. Another study from 2015 further backed this verdict. It showed links between working longer hours and adverse health problems. Some of those included strokes and type 2 diabetes. For those in lower socioeconomic status groups, the Harvard Medical School summarized the results of people who worked 55 or more hours a week increased their risk of heart attack by 13%. They were also 33% more likely to suffer a stroke compared with those who worked from 35 to 40 hours per week. And even though, as I mentioned, none of my relatives really died from overworking themselves, there were some risks, so to speak, with my great-grandfather. Let's say I know from experience that overworking yourself doesn't do you any good physically, but what about mentally? Well, mentally things aren't really better. So let's start with some facts. The CDC shares that over the past 4 years, physical overextension has been second leading cause of injury and illness, which kept employees from being able to work. Similarly, overworking has been linked to mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, with WHO now considers depression the leading cause of disability. And as we covered recently, mental health has a huge impact on global economy. Depression and anxiety now cost $1 trillion every year due to lost productivity. Personally, I can definitely agree with anxiety part, and I think most of us can. The main emotion you feel while forcing yourself to work extra time is fear, uncontrollable fear of what will happen if I don't do it in time. And that's kind of what anxiety is. And depression is no joke either. By the way, what burnout even is. I think everyone heard this word at least once in their life, but do you actually know what burnout is? Well, most likely you do, but I'd like to read the definition. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. As the stress continues, you begin to lose an interest and motivations that led you to take on a certain role in the first place. So, technically burnouts can be caused by anything, not just overworking yourself. If you have too much stress in one field or another, even in something that you like, for example art, you can still feel overwhelmed and like you're done with everything. It's kind of similar to depression. Nothing brings you joy, you don't know what to do, and you feel like there's actually nothing to do. But even with all of those feelings, there is something you can do. What is it exactly? First tip I'd like to give is probably talking to yourself. Not in a weird way, but just understand yourself. Try to explain yourselves that tomorrow will bring new things, some of which might be bad, but just because these things happen to you, that doesn't always mean that it's your fault. Also, if you have a problem with actually relaxing, then you might have an issue with associating self-care with selfishness, which is two completely different terms. Selfishness is when you don't care about anything and anyone other than yourself. But self-care is when you care about yourself and others, but you come first in this equation, but not in like mean way as if you deserve more than others. So you should know that trying to relax doesn't really make you a bad person. Second tip would be organize breaks for yourself. You know, for example, after you finish a task, let yourself rest for a minute. Let's say you just finished translating a long text, but there's still a lot of things to do. But then you think about it, there's still enough time to actually do this task. Why can't I just, I don't know, take 5 minutes off and watch video of my favorite VTuber? Okay, I'm getting off topic, but you get the point. Third tip would be, try finding something that actually brings you joy, like a hobby. Some hobbies do require extra time, but if you manage to replace some of those work hours with something that you like, for example, I don't know, sculpting, then you have something to look forward to, instead of more work for nothing in the end. And the last tip I'd like to give, try asking your close people what do they think. What do they think about your overworking habits? And even though you might not believe their words that you already work hard or you should take some rest, at least try listening to them. From just hearing their opinion, the idea of rest will be in your head. And maybe you'll actually decide to do it. And to be honest, this is all the tips I can give really. I know that everyone has different experiences, so for example, if you feel overworked with your actual job and you need money to, you know, support yourself, then I don't know how much these tips really can help you. But I just hope you know that you're doing a great job. You don't need to be perfect at what you do. As long as you actually do it, you're already the best, because no one can be as good at being you as yourself. Personally, I've put myself a huge expectation on the first month of me uploading videos. And that didn't happen, and I felt like I should have worked even harder than I already did. But then I thought about it. What I already achieved was quite impressive, so what's the point of actually calling myself a failure? I did succeed. Not in the way that I hoped for, but I did. Appreciate yourself, just like I appreciate you. This week wasn't easy, and I'm sure that future won't be easier as well, but I'm still looking forward to it. And I'm glad to know that there are already more than enough people that are willing to look forward with me. Thank you. Have a great day.